how do you maximize your Grand Conquest score so that you get all of those sweet feathers? I've enjoyed the Grand Conquest mode, and I like all the changes they made to it, but for me, it was always such an enigma as to how you actually win the darn thing. I know you fight, but that's about it. So let's start with the easy stuff first. Whenever you go into a Grand Conquest mode, you get to choose your difficulty. The upper ranks, Lunatic and Infernal, only unlock once you hit higher ranks, like 4 in the tiers. So you won't be able to just choose them right away. But yeah, the higher the tier you fight in, the more units you kill, the more areas you take over, the more points you're going to get for your team. That's pretty simple and straightforward. Where things get a little more interesting is whenever you start to look at the things like troops and the things like the bonus that you get for your Grand Conquest tier. The bonus in the Grand Conquest tier, this is the easiest one to explain, you can think of it as splash damage. If you fight in a spot that has 3 places coming off of it, you're going to give a percentage of what you have earned here to the other places. So let's say you earned 1,000 points because you went through some type of lunatic fight and you maxed it out. Good job. So you're going to go ahead, and if you have a 20%, you're going to be given 200 points to those other 3 regions. That's really nice. That shows how important it is to really nail down regions that have multiple places coming into it, and to try to get those ones that are just outside of there. Because as you can tell, if your enemy's surrounding you, now they have multiple attack vectors to be able to just add points for free without actually fighting there, which is really scary if you start to think about it. It also gets a little bit scary once you look at troops. Now, troops are interesting. You may notice that troops increment whenever you tap the help out once around. That thing that gives you like a little bonus and says, hey, you helped out here. Well, that increases the troop number, the number that's shown on that world map. The troop number also increases the first time you fight in a particular region. And what this does is it basically gives you a multiplier to anything that you earn right there. So if there's 5 troops somewhere and you earn 1,000 points in that area, you're actually going to be getting 50% more on top of that. So it's 150% in this case with 5 troops. If you go into a place that only has, that's just you, no other troop support so far, the bonus doesn't trigger. It only triggers once it gets to 2 troops, and then that way it doesn't mean that you just artificially get bonus points because you decided to go into an area. So whenever you have the ability, it is probably best, instead of, especially in the beginning, and I love doing this, and especially in the beginning, instead of just like, I'm going to use all 8 spears right here at one place, just get an 8x multiplier, boom. Well, instead of doing that, what you should do is you should spread out your troops a little bit so that all of your regions have additional multipliers. So it'll be easier for you and your team to continue to take advantage of just continually playing in those regions. It will help out your team score, which means it'll help out your end totals, meaning, hopefully, if your team doesn't slack off, you'll be able to get the higher feather count. Now, it's nice that there's only about a 2,000 feather discrepancy between the different levels in this, but you know what? 2,000 feathers is still a lot of feathers. That gets you a 4-star fodder unit upgraded from 3. That's not something that you could just ignore. So I hope these tips help you out so that you can, with the understanding of the scoring, you know why it's important to find places that have multiple areas adjacent to them, and why it's important to keep and control those, and also why it's important to spread out your usage of your spears, your stamina, as opposed to just dumping them all in one space. Although there are times to do that, at least now I told you why you don't necessarily always want to do that. Are you guys excited for Grand Conquest? I am. I love the mode. I love the challenge. I find it to be very exciting. Let me know down in the comments, and do me a favor, if you like your Fire Emblem information hot and fresh like grandma's cookies, hit that subscribe button. My name is Deltran. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate all of you, and until next time, take it easy.